Welcome everyone to more creepy TikToks, and let's dive in.
What is doublespeak?
Doublespeak is language designed to evade responsibility, make the unpleasant appear pleasant, the unattractive appear attractive. Basically, it's language that pretends to communicate, but really doesn't. It is language designed to mislead while pretending not to.
Is it done consciously?
Oh, yes, very consciously. Doublespeak is not a slip of the tongue or a mistaken use of language. It's exactly the opposite. It is language used by people who are very intelligent and very sophisticated in the use of language and know that you can do an awful lot with language.
Who's the worst offender?
In sheer bulk?
Yes.
Sheer numbers of examples? The government. If we count government from the local level all the way up to the federal level, I had to stop writing the chapter on government doublespeak. It was going to take over the whole book. But interestingly enough, and this was a revelation in doing the book, about a half a step behind comes business with a tremendous amount of doublespeak.
Politicians and the media love the use of doublespeak, and it's the reason why society is in the state it is today. I mean, when you take away the power of words, you're taking away its meaning. For example, instead of, torture, they would refer to it as enhanced interrogation techniques, or instead of saying something like, privacy violations or invasive surveillance, they would refer to it as enhanced security measures.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Project Mockingbird was the project of the deep state to control us via the media. But it worked much better in an era where there were 3 broadcast networks. You didn't have to control that many properties. The reason that the narrative broke was because Goliath was focused on controlling the mainstream media properties, and it didn't think it had to care about the off Joe Rogan man cave stuff. Why should it care what a podcast was? Who cares what gets said on pirate radio, right? But that mattered a lot because people, when they realized they were being lied to and they were doing harm to themselves because of those lies, tuned out the mainstream media and they started searching for information elsewhere. The punchline is, if you want to beat the deep state, what you need to do is you need to drag Goliath on territory he doesn't understand. That's where we win.
He's speaking facts, but the territories he's referring to are slowly closing in. I mean, look at YouTube, look at the way Rumble's turning out, and now on TikTok as well. But where there's a will, there's a way. I just want to give out a warning that there's flashing images on the next clip, so if you need to, you can go ahead and skip here.
When you're ready.
Alright, I'll tell you.
Oh, you just hold the button?
No.
This is so cool.
It's about to happen. Alright, y'all ready? Yeah.
Hit it.
Oh!
Oh! Are you serious? Nice.
This is so cool.
How does that happen? What is that? Have a seizure? They just go on the floor like that. Mind blown.
What the heck?
Oh!
Is the thing spinning?
I've officially seen it all. Alright, I can die now. Come on, guys. You just don't go on the floor like that.
You have to admit, that was pretty awesome, like.
Shut up, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Went to a thrift store and got the worst migraine in the back room.
Daddy!
What?
There's somebody in the window. Keep it up.
No, there's not.
We heard a ticking clock.
God.
I don't know how real these clips are, but the clip that showed the wee boy and then just disappearing was just creepy how.
So I think it's time to clarify. Are you in the Illuminati? Are you in the Illuminati? No.
Well, it's coming up as a lie.
Well, what, your lights broke, lady?
I think you're moving too much.
This video's gonna f*** me. We knew he said the Illuminati won't f***ing great. Y'all know, but I don't. When did this happen? What am I getting out of it? Does the Illuminati come with 401k? All right. Are you, Logan Paul, in the Illuminati? No. By the way, I'm not in the Illuminati now. That doesn't mean I'm not down. If the Illuminati is watching this, don't consider me, like, out. Like, at least approach me and give me the opportunity to say no. Are you in the Illuminati? Not currently.
Logan Paul trying to play it down like he's not in the Illuminati. Slide on, our fella.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم 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 إيه يا حبيبي.
If that was me, I would have took off my brown adult diaper and I would have thrown it straight at his face. I wouldn't have really, I'm just joking about. I don't actually wear adult nappies or anything like that, so it was just a joke. Can you imagine if they had found out that I was wearing adult nappies and been wearing them for the past 5 years? I mean, madness, boy.
So imagine waking up in the morning and coming out your front door. And you fucking fall down that cunt.
You've been married to your nuisance of a husband for the last 30 years, and for the past 2 years you've been waking up every single morning with a cup of coffee in one hand and his health insurance document in the other. What do? Well, you renew your vows, of course. Mingo, that's what you do. You psycho.
Typical tea bag is sprayed with plastic on the outside to keep it together and doesn't rip. And that plastic comes off the tea bag as microplastics. Average cup of hot tea brewed, even with a regular tea bag that has plastic sprayed on it, sheds 1 billion microplastic particles into your cup of tea. Microplastics in a cup of tea are invisible. So here you are thinking you're drinking something good, but actually you're also taking in these microplastics, which we used to think may not be doing that much harm, but now we're beginning to think cause inflammation. So recent studies have shown that in people with narrowed arteries, including arteries feeding your brain, your carotid arteries, blockages, when the doctors have pulled out the lining, the thickened areas, they've actually found microplastics embedded into the narrowing, and it's correlated with a 4-fold increase of fatal heart attack and stroke. More recent research has shown microplastics in the testicles, in semen, and just last week, a new paper came out showing they found microplastics embedded in the flesh of the penis as well. So, whole tea leaves in a ball, fine. Tea leaves in a bag, I would stay away from that.
Even if we use a ball for tea leaves, we're still going to be consuming plastic in some way, whether it's through drinking from bottles or most of our food being wrapped in plastic, we're still consuming microplastics.
This is straight from hell. Celine Dion is walking into a nursery with newborn babies that have genders, but look, when she blows this devil dust on them, they no longer have genders. And you see her running from the cops, and as they tackle her, she looks into the camera as if she's done something sinister. Here's the craziest part. This is actually a commercial for her clothing line for children, and they use these satanic visuals. And now if you look at her, she just had a seizure.
The incurable disease. Stiff person syndrome.
God will not be mocked. Comment, Jesus is Lord.
Let's just buy some Playboy Cardi merch. Let's just buy some Playboy Cardi pentagrams and keychains of upside down crosses, man. No one talks about this. Yeah, let's buy a tank top with 30 upside down crosses. How is this even real, bro? Y'all still listen to this guy, huh? I get it, man. There's good rappers out there. But you go to his concert and you're pulling up to a bunch of kids wearing this, mosh pitting, and you're telling me there's no weird energy going on? I mean, that's what we call brainwashing. You have Baphomet on a sweatshirt. Baphomet on a sweatshirt.
What's sad is that so many young people are impressionable and they don't understand the significance of wearing that kind of symbolism around their bodies. I mean, they're sending out an invitation at that point. You know, take for example that guy in the mosh pit.
The footage of Bohemian Grove has finally came out, and to be honest with you, it's cringe at first and then it gets really creepy. In the beginning, of course, you have your introduction.
Oh, Bohemian, we are. The spirit of the grove has graciously given us this free power.
And then the men in robes come holding torches, and behind them are soldiers with bow and arrows and swords. And then they line up in front of the crowd. The men in robes are first, behind them the soldiers, and behind that is the altar and the owl. They start to recite a lot of weird things. There's a 30-minute long video on YouTube, you can just go watch it. But this is when it starts to get creepy. The men in robes leave and then they come back, but they bring something with them. They start to get ready for the cremation of care ritual. Now, I don't know what these four men are holding, but man, does that look suspicious.
It's one of my... No way, they're sacrificing. They might be sacrificing one of the people they caught. Sneaking into the...
Now, during the cremation of care ritual, they are delivered in effigy by boat. It's a lifelike statue that they put on the altar and burn. The boat makes it to the altar, but unfortunately, we're unable to see the ritual take place.
I don't know if that sacrifice is real, and even if it is role-playing, that dark energy that they're manifesting is enough to summon up any demon.
How are more people not talking about what is happening in Bangladesh right now? Because it is actually wild. So this week, massive protests erupted across the country. So in response, not only has the entire population been placed under a curfew enforced by the military, but the government also ordered the closure of all universities and have completely shut down the internet and all mobile services to try and stop the unrest. I mean, can you just imagine if your government shut down your internet? That's a country of over 170 million people now cut off from the world. That's wild. And it's literally turning into something you'd see in a movie, because now they've stormed a prison and broken hundreds of people out. The government is being hacked by a group called The Resistance. And on the official website of the Prime Minister, it currently reads, "Stop killing students. It's not a protest anymore. It's a war now." What they're referencing is the 105 people so far killed in these protests, according to an AFP count. So you're probably wondering, what has caused all of this? Well, Bangladesh have a job system in which more than half of government jobs are reserved for specific groups. And out of the total, only 44% of them you can actually get hired for based on merit. And when you have a country where over 40% of the youth are neither working or in university, jobs really matter. Some students want this job system abolished, while others want it to remain, which is why things have turned so violent and words like civil war are floating around now. But the only reason I even found out that this was going on was because hundreds of you guys messaged me. And it's just crazy that things like this can happen in the world and you can just go unaware.
It is wild to think that even in this day and age, how easy it is for them to control and try and hide the information from us so easily. But I do think that every single country is going through a certain test right now, and that test is affiliated with that one beast system, and it's only a matter of time before that beast system does become implemented.
This incestuous family took the lives of over 1,000 people. This is the true story of Wrong Turn. In the 16th century, a man named Sawney Bean decided to run away with his girlfriend to the shores of Galloway County in Scotland, where he began living in a cave, surviving by stealing food and belongings from passing tourists. Sawney Bean and his wife had children with whom they committed incest. This family began to grow, as they all had relationships with each other. Sawney Bean's clan grew to 48 people, and what they stole was no longer enough to eat. The Bean family began to take the lives of people who passed near their cave, and then eat them. For 25 years, this family survived doing this savage activity, until one day a couple was attacked by the Bean family, but the man managed to defend himself with a gun, but his wife did not survive. The man had discovered the cave of the Bean clan, so he decided to report it to the authorities. After that, the soldiers of the King of Scotland went to the cave where they captured the whole family, and then they were condemned to be burned at the stake.
Now that's a mad family. So next time you think you have a crazy family, just stop and think, You could have worse.
Well, there I was, judging motherfuckers for thinking that there were cameras in the birds, but here I am going through the CIA's declassified documents, and bitch, there are fucking cameras in the birds. So here I am, scrolling through, and I see, what is that? Bird camera program? Alright. What is the literal first sentence? Technical collection team has been formed to demonstrate the operational utility of the avian asset. As a part of this effort, a new bird camera has been designed, which weighs less than the old one, and which uses a 16mm film with motion compensation instead of the 9mm size. So we were doing this like way back in the day in 1976 when we were still using film. And so I continue scrolling down, and they continued this. This was something they updated multiple times and continued to fund. Just in 1976, or from when I can find these documents, they funded almost $1 million into this program. And you're going to sit here and you're going to tell me that they couldn't do similar stuff today? Look at that camera. That's obvious as shit, but this was in the 70s. And I'll leave you with something else that might give you some spooks. This article in Redacted is factually reliable and presents a reasonable picture of some aspects of the field of electrical brain stimulation from the layman's point of view. After our experiments at the Redacted had demonstrated the practical feasibility of electrical brain stimulation as a guidance technique. And that would be all well and good until you scroll down to the bottom of this last page. We feel we are close to having debugged a prototype system whereby dogs can be guided along specific courses through land areas out of sight and at some distance from the operator, the purpose being to completely redacted. And then we get down to this bottom sentence. Dr. Redacted is taking appropriate action to exploit our knowledge in this area and provide adequate background for the development of future agency applications in the general areas of influencing human behavior, indirect assessment, and interrogation aids. So, I'll leave you with that. The birds work for the CIA, and this was on the first couple pages. The first couple pages I opened. I've been on here for 30 minutes.
I can't imagine this still being an operation, since every turn we make there's a camera staring straight at us. But to think that this operation started back in 1976 does make you wonder what other operations have been conducted over the decades since.
I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right, so the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus. So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that.
We all know that in their world they have to make sacrifices, and we know from time to time that their sacrifices are in the form of their wee ones having a sex change. So in regards to Elon Musk, is this the case? Or was he just genuinely unaware of what was going on?
What you have to remember is the system doesn't work on the same timeline as the average human. People that control the system aren't a face, which therefore means they're not limited by generations. We try and do things in a lifetime because we're alive for a lifetime, whereas the system is bigger than that. It's about creating a control over time itself. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't get it done in one generation, they'll do it in the next one, which is why you're always going to struggle because they can't be removed, they haven't got a face. So they start planning things out 3 generations in advance. So they'll start manipulating the narrative, and that will then bleed through to the second. By the fourth, you might be where you need them. That starts with the kids. The kids become adults. They then train their kids with that same ideology, but then you weaken them even more. And then it's slowly over time, not noticeable just how far off the beaten track you've gone. So you're fighting a very different game to them.
This is spot on and is exactly what's happening in the world today. In fact, in today's world, because of the amount of separation and division, more and more people are becoming much more lonelier. People are having less friends, they're having less family around them because of the separation. And it's truly sad to see.
Watch very carefully, because no one can explain what happened to Cardi B.
Yes, be involved. Y'all want to be involved so bad, but nobody asked me about them gift. What's good?
Look at the other host.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. Take the gift cards.
Now notice how he claps 3 times and then it's as if nothing ever happened.
Take the gift cards, take the gift cards, take the gift card.
Yeah, because they might put, what's that thing that was going around in the...
The internet had a lot of questions to ask when this clip was first released.
He didn't move, blink or nothing.
Notice how the presenter suddenly changes when she says, Holy Ghost.
Yes, like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot of memories today, actually. It's a big day in music history.
The king of rock and roll, and as Mark Cohn says in his great song, Walking in Memphis, there's a pretty little thing waiting for the...
As you can see, not everything is as it seems.
Perfecto, Mariano. Estamos atentos entonces a las novedades. Mariano.
But here is the big question. What do you think is the reason for all of these celebrities freezing on live TV? I don't have an answer, and that's why I'm asking you.
I think we all know exactly what it is, and it's either that or they're all androids.
So for some mysterious reason, there's loads of videos popping up all over social media of people saying that they've encountered vampires in New Orleans.
So there's a freaky phenomenon that happens in New Orleans.
As someone who lived in New Orleans for 12 years.
To my New Orleans trip, and we're going to talk about the vampires that I saw.
Most people talk about a very strange vibe they felt in some places in New Orleans, and how in some specific situations they came face to face with what they believed to be a vampire.
But there were these two guys in particular that caught my attention. They both looked very interesting, but I turned back towards the bar so that I can grab my drink and talk to my friend that was next to me. Tell me how, as soon as I turned around with my drink, he was standing there right in front of me. Like some Twilight shit. He started talking to my friend, asking where we're from, what we were doing. And on top of that, their energy was just not normal. And my friend's boyfriend...
Strange, isn't it? Why all of a sudden so many videos of people saying that they saw vampires in New Orleans? And what is it about New Orleans? So I started researching a bit more, just to make sure I wouldn't find any evidence of such a thing in New Orleans. And this is when I came across this video of a man who claims to be a vampire. Check this out.
Let me explain something about fangs. Fangs are like your saliva. You don't salivate unless you smell food, you think about food, you're about to eat some food. Fangs are the same way. Fangs are not meant to just pop out whenever.
In this particular video, he shows his fangs to some of his subscribers who at the time did not believe that this was the real deal. So he actually does it again, but this time he makes sure to show people that this is not some sort of trick that he's pulling. Check this out.
I said, what the f?
In another video of his, he explains that he's very old and shows a photograph of himself 100 years ago. Check this out.
Okay. I kind of feel like the more I show you, the more you guys won't believe me. But it's okay. I'm used to this now. Hey, Mama. That's me. I've always been trying to make my way into film, even 100 years ago.
Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the real deal or not. What I do know, however, is that this is not the first time someone claims to be a vampire. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think that this could be an elaborate hoax? Or is it something else entirely?
I'm not one to believe in vampires, but I came across this and thought it was quite interesting, so I thought I would share it with you guys. Thanks for chilling out with me to the end, and if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, like and share. Anything that will help with the algorithm, I would really appreciate it, guys. But until the next video, look after yourselves, stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you then.